Reserve your spot today on the Tuscany Transformation Retreat, June 15th through the 21st, 2025. Reconnect with your inner beauty, power, and abundance. Come join Dr. Larissa Sharapova and myself, Priscilla Koblenz, for 6 nights and 5 full days in the beautiful Tuscan countryside. We'll be staying at a villa that has a gorgeous swimming pool and hot tub, a Turkish bath, as well as this amazing yoga studio overlooking the olive trees and the vineyards. We'll offer daily yoga, meditation, breath work, sound healing, spa treatments, a Tuscan bike ride, a pasta cooking class, olive oil and wine tastings, as well as amazing, amazing food. For more detailed itinerary, check out our website and reserve your spot today. We've got 9 spots available.
Connect to nature and enjoy the time and surrounding around you. So that's time for yourself. And maybe listen to your own thoughts, or maybe listen to your own body, what your body telling you while you're on a walk, or just enjoy surrounding and nature. So that's a small thing that you can do for yourself. And if you can do it every day, that's already putting your life in balance. Because if you go running, you know, checking your boxes
right
with your schedule, it's gonna catch up with you.
Welcome to Harmonic Alignment,
A podcast that explores the new frontier of energy medicine,
bridging the gap between Western medicine and quantum physics,
giving you easy and practical solutions.
guided by
Me, Dr. Larissa Sharipova,
and me, Priscilla Koblenz. Join us on a journey discovering your harmonic alignment. In today's episode of Harmonic Alignment, balance. I get to chat with my favorite podcast guest and partner, Dr. Larissa Sharapova. We discuss balance in all things: self-care, relationships, emotional, food, sleep, love, and even sex. Where do you need more balance in your life? Welcome back to Harmonic Alignment. Today, all things balance. Man, I need more balance in my life. So, Dr. L, talk to us and give us kind of like why balance is really resonating for you right now and why it's so important for everyone we encounter to try to find their balance.
Grateful to be back with you, Priscilla. I love talking about balance because that's what life is. It's how we live our life in balance. And it's on personal perspective, physical perspective, and also health perspective, and even food. Mm-hmm. How do we live our life in balance? What's important? Being a professional and also being a mother, for speaking about women.
Oh,
right?
God bless all the super moms out there. Because forget taking care of yourself. If you have a lot of kids to take care of, or just one kid to take care of, it changes everything.
And particularly now in this age, we call it sandwich generation, when we take care of older parents and young kids. Because now we have kids later, right, and our parents get older. So how do we manage our life? And of course, we need to find time for self-care.
How does a busy mom or a busy woman set healthy boundaries?
It's very difficult, but if we don't take care of our own needs, we cannot take care of for others. There's a lot of different things that you can do, even small things. You don't have to dedicate a whole day or whole week for yourself, right? Even though it's good to go on vacation just by yourself without kids and only for a spouse or somebody else to care for your family member. But it's important to take at least 15-20 minutes a day for yourself. In the morning, if you have a time. Personally, I don't have time in the morning, so I prefer my care routine at night. Just to read a book, just taking a long shower, right? Or take a bath.
Right.
And just go for a walk. If I go for a walk, it takes me like 30 minutes, like long loop that I have.
But don't be on the phone the whole time while you're walking on your 30 minutes. So that's not really taking time for yourself if you're still on your device.
If you're talking on the phone with somebody while you're on your walk, it means you're taking care of as a person who you're listening, because you become a shoulder for other person. Or if you're going for a walk and you're on social media, it means you're giving your time to people who on another side on social media. So
Not okay. Shut the electronic device off if you really want self-care.
And just connect to nature and enjoy the time and surrounding around you. So that's time for yourself. And maybe listen to your own thoughts, or maybe listen to your own body, what your body telling you while you're on a walk, or just enjoy surrounding and nature. So that's a small thing that you can do for yourself. And if you can do it every day, that's already putting your life in balance. Because if you go running, you know, checking your boxes with your schedule, it's gonna catch up with you. And a lot of women have a lot of issues because of a lot of physical, emotional stress that we have. So we need a little bit time in our life to unwind and dedicate to yourself. Yeah. So as we say, put your oxygen mask first before you give oxygen mask to your child or to somebody who is in your care. So that's at least one thing that we can start balancing our life in our relationship.
Okay.
And also another relationship balance or boundaries when you have friends, colleagues, work partners that take out your all time. So if you have a friend who calls you all the time or spending too much time on your phone and taking all your time, that's also need to be balanced.
I like it. So start with the self-care as balance, finding time for yourself. And then the second is setting healthy boundaries with work, friends, partners, making sure that has balance in your life.
And sometimes it's very difficult to say no to another person, but if you're not okay with yourself, so you won't be okay with other people.
How do you help people say no? What's a way to have a healthy no that doesn't make you feel guilty?
You have to train yourself to do that, and you can start if somebody asks you to do something and you really don't want to do it, but you don't want to say no, you can say, not this time, but maybe later, or let me think about it.
Let me think about it and get back to you.
Right.
If you're not able to say no immediately.
Right away. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And with time, you can learn to say no. And because we have some toxic people around us who invade your time and space, you need to learn how to say, maybe not right now, but maybe later. And later sometimes never happen, but at least you don't feel uncomfortable to say no.
Right.
And you can always say, well, later, it's not fits my schedule.
Right. It's one of those life lessons that I think we all have to learn, because we say yes to everything and then all of a sudden we realize we can't get it all done.
Right.
And then we have to finally start to pare it back. And I myself remember volunteering with a lot of different organizations, and then all of a sudden being like, I can't keep this up. So I just learned to say, okay, if I want to take care of my health and find balance, then I have to pare back what's really my priority. Where do I want to put my energy and focus? Because you can't do it all.
But sometimes we need to also recognize why we're saying yes to everything.
Right.
Why we want to be busy with a lot of different things, a lot of time, because we don't want to deal with our own emotions and issues. We take other people emotions and issue on ourselves.
Right. You bring up a really good point, and it's something that has been resonating with me, is that I believe that when I'm in nature, I feel connected with God and Source. I feel calmer. I'm outside of my head. I'm not in my thinking mind, and I really start to know me, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm encountering people who, I think it was said this way, we're always connected, but we're going to use layers of distraction to disconnect. And it's not that we're disconnected, it's just we're not comfortable. And so we have all these unprocessed thoughts, emotions, trauma. I don't want to sit with myself in silence because I'm not happy with who I am and where I'm at and my relationships with X, work, family, friends, partners.
So we put these distractions. We all connected energetically with bad energy, good energy, and sometimes we want to put a blockage between that's something that does not resonate with us and our energy. We try to do a lot of things and not deal with that energy. If we don't want to deal with some issues, we might watch the movie. We like to go on social media because that's a distraction for us, something to respond or to deal with. And that's when we want to make our brain busy all the time. We're doing something all the time instead of being, because being sometimes it's hard, it's difficult, because being, it means being in your own body, connecting to your own body, connecting to your emotions. But sometimes those emotions are so disturbing that, first of all, we don't want to work on those emotions or feelings. That's why we put all those different things in our life that distract us.
Right.
And sometimes it's hard to deal with your own emotion. That's why we need to find somebody who can help us with that. So find practitioners, therapists, or people who can help you with your emotions, because it's difficult to deal with that, but you have to deal with them sooner or later because they become physical manifestation of certain different things.
Because I think that we can go back to how much of our health is a direct relation to our thoughts and our emotions. I like the number 90% because I actually think if people realize 90% of their health problems are associated with their thoughts and emotions, then that's freaking empowering. That means it can be changed, because if emotional energy that you have today doesn't have to be the emotional energy that you have tomorrow, you can actually move the needle and make some really substantial changes.
And interesting about emotions or even behaviors that we have, sometimes it's not even our emotions, it's transgenerational. I was talking to my daughter today about this because I'm reading a book. It did not start with you. So all those emotions and things that we encounter in our lifetime, in our physical body, it's not even yours. We project some emotions and energy that come from generation and generation to you.
Right.
How you deal with that, you need to recognize. So
right.
That's the number one step. You need to recognize that something is not even yours.
Right. So when you say that, the past generations, I've heard up to 5 generations back, the trauma can be stored and I guess I'm assuming in our genetic makeup, so that if you have a tendency to have a lot of fear, or have a tendency to have a lot of anxiety, or have a tendency to have a lot of anger, this could not just be what you've experienced this lifetime, could be actually in your cells.
Yep.
And so that's where, some of this new technology, whether it's energy, frequency medicine, EMDR, microcurrents.
And it's only on the physical level, but sometimes even how do we clear our energy, like how you find out, because you feel it, but you don't know where it's coming from. So sometimes I feel like something happened with me, but I don't remember in my life that something happened. So I know this is some energy that it does not belong to me. So I want to find out where does it started, that energy, and you can clear that by recognizing or finding out where the energy is coming from what family member in my first generation, second generation, even like 6th generation about that. And you can clear that energy when you know where it's coming from.
So if you can find the balance in your emotions, going and doing the work to understand that maybe when you have too much anger or too much fear or too much anxiety, that it could have occurred because of previous generational trauma, then there are tools such as family constellation that even just bringing that to your awareness that, hey, it's not just your anger. This is the anger of all this trauma that occurred to your family in the past, and that can actually be resolved and healed, and now you are better emotionally balanced, and that's going to help with finding health balance.
And it's also, if you clear that energy, it's not gonna go to future generation. So you can
actually, you think we can change our genetic makeup so that we don't pass that on to the next generation.
Right. That's what's the goal. If I clear that energy in my generation, in me, so I'm not gonna pass that energy to my kids.
Right.
So they will be a better people.
They won't have to deal with as much stuff. They don't have as much garbage to clean out to become a more healthier, balanced human.
And my kids are teenagers, and I talk to them about that, and they understand it because sometimes they feel the way they feel, like where it's coming from. It didn't happen to me. Like, well, we all have a lot of baggage and traumas in the past.
Right.
And I don't remember my grandparents.
Right.
But maybe they had some trauma that was tremendous, and now we all feeling that. So we need to recognize it. And most of the people are not aware that what they carry in their bodies, it's not theirs. And when you learn about it, you will like, oh, it's not me.
So we've got the self-care balance. We're balancing our relationships. We're balancing our own emotional health. How do you balance, I think, food?
Well, we can start with like standard American diet every day. And I think we already know that is not the best choice for us. But even though we get on a bandwagon of healthy food, what's healthy for you, it's not healthy for me. It's first of all, even though you find out your body, your genetic makeup, what's the best food for you, you still cannot eat it every day for the rest of your life.
Right.
Because what's happened with your microbiome, you need to have all kinds of varieties.
So even if you did your genetic profile and here's your list of your 10, 20 superfoods, just eating from that list is not going to bring you to optimal health because you'll lack the diversity and you can't have that same food every day.
We just talked before we start recording about oxalates, right?
And just for our listeners, oxalates are these defense mechanisms in certain particular plants that are considered superfoods, such as spinach, chard, beets. They're also in almonds. And you would think having spinach and almonds every day would make you a healthy person. But because of the plant's defense mechanisms, depending on your genetic makeup, that can be really difficult on your kidneys, and that can create inflammation. It affects your calcium pathways. There's a lot of different health consequences to having a superfood every day. We don't know the long-term studies of finding some plant in the Amazon jungle and now thinking that it's supposed to be part of your daily ritual for the next 50 years.
And speaking about the plants, you know, a lot of people on plant-based diet, vegans and vegetarians. So if you eat the same food, even making spinach juice every day or spinach smoothie, that's what creates this balance. So if you have something consistently, I know it's easy because you set with certain food and you do it every day. It's easy for you because you just follow the schedule. You just do every day the same thing, but it's not good for your body.
Well, let's talk more about that, because I think that someone who chooses to go vegan or who chooses to go paleo, who chooses to go carnivore, fill in the label. How long can someone go on these? We want to get people on and off of food plans before they start having the negative effects, because a lot of times you can start a new plan and the first 30 to 60 days, you may feel like a rock star. It's making health improvements.
And that's why even healing cancer, you can start with plant-based diet.
To heal cancer.
Even extreme, like you can do juicing from 1 to 3 months.
That will actually help heal the cancer.
Because it's highly alkaline, that's what our body needs. And it's full of nutrients. And so you can do it for 3, maybe maximum 6 months, but no more than that. And after that, you need to switch for some balanced diet, which include all macronutrients like carbs, fat, and proteins. But also, if you know your genetic profile, like for example mine, when I did my gene testing, I cannot process grains, so I don't eat grains much. But I sprinkle once in a while. I eat quinoa or rice once in a while, or even wheat, because I don't have gluten intolerance. But it's not every day that I'm gonna include in my diet. And if there is a holiday, I don't stick and be restricted myself with Mediterranean diet. It's my lifestyle, but it's not the diet. What we say is like 80-20 rules. You can do 80% of good, clean style of eating. But 20% you can cheat, you could say, like if there is a holiday, a birthday party, or some social event that you cannot stick to your diet. I think that's a good rule to follow. As long as your body is resilient enough to handle those 20%.
Right, as long as you're at a certain level of health, you can have that piece of chocolate cake.
Yeah. But before that, that's why you need to be strict with your diet. So if you're healing cancer, you need to be on a strict diet.
Right. You need to cut out the sugars,
Right.
the bad seed oils, and maybe even for a very long period of time until that body comes back into balance.
Same when you have food sensitivity.
Yeah.
And if you run your food sensitivity testing, there is a certain food that you have to restrict for 9 months. And after that, you can implement or start implementing that food, but again, not every day, so you can rotate that food. Certain food you need to eliminate for 6 months, and certain food that is not highly sensitive but still sensitive
Right.
for 3 months. And after that, you can start bringing that food little by little and see how body reacts.
You know, one of the things I had not thought about, and I did a Viome test that I was having lemons or limes every day to start my day, and then it basically told me I needed to avoid them for 6 months because I had clearly overdone it. But what about apple cider vinegar? I know a lot of people take that every day. What are your thoughts?
I would never take something every day.
So make
even
sure-
supplements.
even
And we
supplements,
talk
yeah.
about supplements. Like I know a lot of people take bags of supplements every day.
Yeah.
It's become their meal. So I prefer take all nutrients from a meal.
Of your food. You can get all your nutrients from your food.
And supplement, it's a supplemental things that you need to add to your life. First of all, if you need it based on your testing, if you have low vitamin D,
Right.
you can take vitamin D even for prolonged period of time until you get to the
Higher levels.
higher numbers. But for example, I take vitamin D, even maintenance dose throughout the winter because we live in the north.
Seasonally, up
Right.
your vitamin D.
But not in the summer.
I look at vitamin C and I can take it or leave it, but I know if I think I'm getting sick, I'm totally going to be on vitamin C for that week.
Or even
just
higher
to-
dose.
And a higher
Yeah.
dose like every couple hours.
It's important not to stay on the same diet forever. Maybe switch every 3 months. When people go on a weight loss program and they choose specific plan, doesn't matter. Keto, some people can lose weight on keto,
Right, keto,
some people on
right.
paleo, some people on plant-based. You can take certain diet and lose weight if you do it correctly. Of course, with exercise and everything else. But you, as you say, you're gonna reach plateau
Right.
with any
Any
diet.
kind of food program, it's going to eventually stop working.
Why? Because your body does not recognize anymore that it's changed. So, and that's where we're talking about homeostasis and also hormesis.
Explain those. Give us the definition
So
of...
hormesis, it's a cell adaptation or organism adaptation to moderate stress. So
Okay.
sometimes we need to give some stress for the body to respond, but also if we give it too much stress, it's gonna put our in a stress response. We need to give a little stress, but not for prolonged period of time, or we need to have a moderate stress, but for short period of time. So it's like our body gonna adapt it. When it's adapted, it's not stress anymore.
Right.
So that's why little bursts of stress, like changing a diet, if you've been on standard American diet and now you plant-based diet, of course it's gonna change for
Right.
you. But in 3 months, it's not stress anymore. So your body get adapted to that, and it's not something new for your body to change. So after 3 months, you can change to keto. It's gonna have another benefit for 3 months, but it's gonna get in balance and it's not gonna respond anymore because everything, our body is adapted to good or bad stuff.
Right.
And stressing it means give some changes or challenge to your body so your body respond in a different way.
Okay.
And so
right.
hormesis is give a little stress so your body is respond to that.
But too much stress will not move you forward. It'll create too much inflammation.
For example, exercise, right? If you're doing the same exercise every day, it's gonna help us in the beginning, but it's gonna plateau after that.
Oh, I mean, I have a friend who did Ironmans, and at first her health really improved, and then her health completely tanked because she was not resting her body enough for the body to recover, wasn't able to get in enough nutrients. She was just burning the candle at both ends, and it just almost shut her down.
Of course, our body cannot tolerate stress for too long, and it's become stress on her autonomic nervous system. So put her in sympathetic mode. What's happened? Cortisol goes up, And when it's too long, stay up, your body it's gonna shut down your cortisol. When your cortisol is low, you feel low and you don't want to do, and that's when you become
your
sick.
hormone, your thyroid, your digestion,
Adrenals, yeah.
Well, even great athletes understand that they have to take a couple days off, and they can actually then improve their numbers if they take that rest time. They can't be working out every day at the same level and think that they can continue to rise. They literally have to take time off in order to come back up again.
And that's what the balance is. So if we work hard, we need to take hard
rest.
rest.
We need to have a lot of good, healthy rest.
And some people go to the gym every day without any breaks, and they don't listen to their body. Right. So if you don't feel energized by going to the gym after exercise, it means that you push yourself too much, or you're doing it for too long, too much.
Well, even a healthy workout now, we realize you don't do the same muscle group every day. So we covered food and exercise, but I just was thinking about sleep. How do people find balance and rest?
Most of us don't have enough rest, but having too much rest, it's also not good.
Right.
If you don't exercise, we're resting too much, it's not good. So what's happened if we don't exercise our muscle, if we don't work out our muscle, we lose our muscle. So that's when I say use it or lose it. But again, don't abuse it, right?
Exactly.
So we need to do some challenges for our body, for mental challenges, physical challenges. Because if we sit on the couch all the time, we're gonna lose our muscles, because our muscle, that's the largest organ that consumes most energy and also produce the most energy in the body. It has the most mitochondria. And if we don't exercise, if we don't use our muscles, it means we're gonna change our metabolic rate, because that's how we use our energy, by exercising muscle, by using mitochondria. And we also gonna have a sarcopenia, which is muscle wasting.
How does someone find the exercise that works the best for their body at the current state of health that they're at?
I am not exercise specialist. I'm not personal trainer, but even in my book, Listen to Your Body and Regain Your Health, I have a whole chapter. It's called Use It or Lose It, but not abuse it. So it's about exercise. So how we find a balance. And the best way is to use all type of exercise every day, or alternate them. Aerobic exercise, it's been running and jumping, stretching or yoga. Also HIIT exercise, like high intensity interval training, but not every day. And if we use machines, so again, alternate different muscles, different group muscles. So if we implement kind of routine, or best way,
like cardio on Mondays, and then yoga on Tuesdays, and then maybe walking on Wednesdays, and then biking on Thursdays.
Yes. So again, same as with food, just rotate different exercise, different every day, or maybe short term exercise in one day. Like we can do 15 minutes of cardio, 15 minutes of stretching, and it's gonna accumulate to 30, 45 or 1 hour in the gym. So little burst of different things.
You don't always have to just work out for a solid hour in the morning. You could space that out throughout your day in different routines.
Or if you have just 1 hour in the gym, you can rotate, or you can implement all of them in 1 hour. Just not one type of exercise for 1 hour.
Right. Not an hour of cardio.
No.
Gotcha. Doesn't make any sense. It's not actually doing your body any benefits.
So after a certain time, research saying 45 to 1 hour, that's the maximum your body can tolerate. And after that, it goes to stress mode. So it's stress
too much cortisol, and it's not helping you with your weight goals.
So if you don't have much time, even 30 minutes a day, intense exercise, it's enough. Then not at all or too much. So you can fit in 15 minutes of walking twice a day, or you can do 30 minutes burst, high intensity interval training, or if you go to the gym, so include cardio, stretching, and machines in 1 hour. Or if you want to spread throughout the week, so just do every day something different.
Okay.
Even trampoline 10 minutes a day.
And the trampoline is good for the lymph, helps get your body to detox healthily, getting the sweat. Sweating is also, again,
Lymphatic.
good for the lymphatics, good for digestion.
So listen to your body. For example, I have a client who usually don't go to the gym, but she signed up with a personal trainer.
Oh, nice.
Now she goes to the gym or working with personal trainer every day, and it's exhaust her. After that intense working with the personal trainer, she cannot do anything. She just want to go to sleep. What that means, doing that intense work, it's not the best in this specific moment in her life.
Right.
Because it put her in their stress response.
Right. So that advice for that particular client who has decided, I'm going to get in shape and I'm going to go work out every day, would you change that to every other day or 3 times a week? Like, how would you help them find
the balance
in that?
So maybe 1 hour of intense is too much. So start with walking or even doing cardio every day. That's already put your body in a different response. Then to do intense interval training for 1 hour, it's way too much for a person who never exercised before.
Right. They should have started more with walking, yoga, stretching, and then adding in, like you said, 15 minutes of the weightlifting.
Yeah. Or even start with your body.
Using your own body as resistance.
Right. But not for 1 hour.
That's
What's
interesting
the point?
because I understand the difficulty with the business model. As you're a trainer, you need to work with a client for an hour. And if you start stretching them for part of it, they're going to feel like, oh, maybe I didn't get my money's worth. When actually that stretching was probably just as beneficial as that weight training.
And not all personal trainers know about holistic approach to physical body. Yeah, and also everybody is different.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they ask in what state of mind you are right now, what in a state of health you're right now, their goal to reach your goal.
Right.
And sometimes it's impossible because everybody is different. If you use the same routine for each person, it's not by individual.
Right.
Because
that's what has to change. When we talk about weight loss journey or a health journey, you can't start from, I hate my body, I'm going to do this. You have to start from a place of love that I'm going to honor and cherish my body, and therefore I want it to feel good and look good. And that's a very different energy than, I hate myself, make me love myself. No. You got to start from a place of love with a big change like that.
Yeah, and another things I want to mention also, we talk about balance and hormesis as well. How we give our body a little bit of challenge and stress. Cold and heat is stress for the body.
So like a sauna or cold plunge or ice water or cold shower, they all cause a little bit of stress to the body.
So it's challenge your body to create more shock proteins, for example, or make your body to change metabolic rate because the temperature, hot and cold temperature, gonna affect your hormones and how your body responds to that. So challenge your body a little bit, but not too much. So with all this cold plunge, and people
feel good afterwards. That's why they do it.
But when you do it every day, and when you just started, of course, you cannot tolerate for a long period of time. But your body get used to it. So you try to increase the time in a cold plunge longer and longer.
Thinking they're actually improving their health. And actually they're putting themselves with too much cortisol.
Yeah. So again, same thing.
Yeah.
With the heat is the same thing. You can't stay like forever in the sauna because it's become too much for the body. Even though our body is very resilient and it can go longer. But you doing any good for your body? Probably not.
There's an article and a presentation from Dr. McCullough on that. Once you've reached a certain level of health, then if you continue to add that stress every day, he actually makes the argument that you will age faster and actually decline your health. Most people aren't metabolically flexible, so at some level, the cold plunge and the sauna is going to be a key part of your journey to becoming healthier and more metabolically flexible. But at a point, when you're at a certain level of health, you actually may be sending yourself down the wrong way.
I was about to talking about anti-aging, all these biohackers.
What they trying to live longer and what they try to do to themselves.
And that's what they do. So
they don't have balance sometimes.
If you're already in a good state of health, people taking a little bit too much and doing too much for the body, And they're not realizing that is actually, as Mercola said, it's downstream effect. Because if you challenge your telomeres is every time your body try to heal something or damage, because even if you go exercise and you break your muscle, that's how you build your muscle.
Right.
So every time your body needs to heal it, it's gonna use your telomeres. And every time you use it to heal it, it gets shorter and shorter and shorter. So how much we can shorten our telomeres? So that's when the aging comes from.
That's where the aging comes
So
from.
same with cortisol. If we stress too much, our body increases cortisol, that's inflammation, and we know that inflammation it's aging. So yes, we all want to live longer, and we think the more we do it, the better, but it's not.
Yeah,
you have to find a reason.
You have to find balance. Because
Yeah.
if you don't find balance, you're not going to live a healthy, long life. No matter how many good things you do, if you're doing too many of them, it's not gonna work.
So even doing too much of good things, it's not good either. So yeah, we need to find balance. And another things I want to mention also about sex.
Oh, balance! Ooh, I like this.
And of course, sex and aging, and like how we engage in sex. So when we're young, we want can do it every day, and that's what we want. It's our body response. But again, with age, we're doing less and less, or we're losing our partners. We don't do, or use it or lose it. So if you don't use your sex organs, if you don't have orgasm every day, and keep a doctor away. So
I have a client who is working with some pelvic floor issues, and sex for her was painful. And then once she started going through some clinical work, found that they basically told her, if you don't do this once a week, you're going to continue to have issues. So it was use it or lose it. So it was like, it's much better to do this with your partner than to do the exercises, on your own. So find a way, and of course it's a healthy way to create beautiful intimacy between you and your partner, and your relationship improves, but your health improves for both of you.
So the longer you have your healthy sex life, the better you age, and the longer you live.
I think that, we speculate on how many times people are supposed to have sex, but what do you think is what's too much, what's too little?
So even when I was teaching my teenagers sex education, and we were talking about contraception and prevention of pregnancy, and I tell them, you should start using oral contraceptive for regular sex life. They always ask, what's a regular sex life? Right? I said, if you have a sex at least twice a week, it's regular sex life. So some people do every day. But of course, if you do every day, you're going to get tired. Use it or lose it, but not abuse it. Because if you do it too much, you're going to have less energy. Of course, you need to, same as exercising, you need to replenish your body. And if you try to get pregnant and do it every day, it's not going to work either. Because you're going to lose all your, stamina and sperm and so energy and mitochondria. So find a balance. And the longer with age you do it, the better. Or if you lose your partner, if you don't have a partner, you can play with yourself. As long as you engage the muscles of sex organs in any activities.
Keep them young and
keep
vibrant.
them young, because again, we're going to lose it.
I love that.
And yesterday I was listening to a lecture about sex health, and it was about erectile dysfunction.
Oh, okay.
So for men, they have penis pump to increase the
blood flow, okay.
But also it's increased the muscle. The exercising
muscle helps the muscles.
Yes, and they we wish to have something for female as well. But if you do Kegel exercise, it's already better. So use the muscles, because everything is our organs. It's a muscle. If you don't exercise our muscle, we're gonna lose, and it's gonna be lax. And for women, it's prolapse, uterine prolapse our pelvic floor, and the pain and everything else come from there. So use it doing Kegel exercise. Even men can do Kegel exercise, and you can do it everywhere. You can sit in, driving, and
I love that.
And if you're sitting at the desk, you can do that, and maybe use penis pump.
Penis pump to help.
If you're a single man and you you don't have sex, but it's good for
the muscles and the blood flow. Well, hey, balance in all things, sex included. So I think we had covered self-care balance, relationship, healthy boundary balance, emotional balance, balance around food, balance around sleep, balance around sex. But what about other things that we need balance on?
So we start talking about love, right? Do we need more love or less love in life?
Maybe we need to have a balance of receiving and giving love. And I think that's where I know that's my imbalance. And I think a lot of people's imbalances is that they either don't give or they don't receive.
And that's important because some people are seeking love because there is some underlying causes that they feel that they need. And sometimes people cannot receive love, as you said,
right?
Because again, some underlying causes that you cannot accept some people's love, and some people stay away or afraid to get in relationship because maybe they were not nourished enough by their parents,
right?
So they didn't have enough love, and now they're afraid to get in.
And that's an imbalance.
It's imbalance.
Total imbalance. I know people who are afraid to get into relationships or stop dating because of the fear. And that's an imbalance.
And some people, again, opposite end of the spectrum, they're looking for love.
They're always on the hunt.
Right.
Bring on the love, but there's no healthy balance in that.
And even talking about emotions, right? When we do our NES scan, we have some imbalance that the scan realize, right?
Right.
We need to be in the middle, right? We cannot be on one spectrum or another. That's when create imbalances. We need to be kind of in the middle.
I love that you just said that, because I think that's kind of the point of bioenergetics or energy medicine in general, is that we're always looking for balance. Too much anger, not okay. Too little anger, not okay. Like, what is the balance? So again, too much love, too little love. For frequency and energy to work, it's always trying to optimize and bring into homeostasis or balance.
And talking about frequency, so if balance is like frequency like this, if we become less frequency, so it's like negative, or if it's too much, it's also become negative, right? So we need to be in the middle. That's what's the balance when we resonate. And sometimes, again, about resonance, if we on a low resonance with some disbalanced emotions, we're gonna attract to that emotions because we resonate with that, and we always bring people with the same level of resonance. Why we always have attract to people with the same kind of things until we bring our resonance or bring our vibration higher. So that's why we need to work on ourselves first to bring our resonance vibration higher. And that's when we're going to change our relationship.
What is the advice that when you end a long-term relationship, wait, heal, work on yourself, which isn't always the case? Because I know some people who've had really healthy experiences getting in another relationship, and that helped them receive love and give love, especially when they've been in loveless situations for a long time. But I think that the goal is, once you kind of understand yourself and you raise your vibrational frequency, or you do the work, you start to love yourself more, you start to be kinder to yourself, you get out of the anger, fear, shame, the lower vibrational emotions. Now you're like, oh, you're attracting partners that are vibrating higher or higher than you. And that's what we're really here for, is not just in partners, but business and relationships. And we want to be around people who light us up, who lift us up, who we feel good around, not people that make us feel low and sad and angry and frustrated and guilty, shamed, all those low frequency emotions. So I love that. I never thought about it in those terms.
And that's what happened with me. So when I was in a relationship, I was married for 25 years. And in my marriage, my vibrations were very low. I had low self-esteem, and now like all low frequencies vibrations. And that's how I felt. And I was sick because of that, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So when I start working on myself, I increase my vibrations. But now I'm not in the same resonance with my husband. So that's why we could not stay together, because we start always arguing. People say you drift apart. That's because one person is increasing vibration and another person is not. So it's very important in a relationship. You have to heal together. You have to work together if you want to stay together.
Right.
Because if
you have to grow together, you really do. Balance in a marriage or balance in a partnership. If one business partner or one person in a marital relationship is growing and the other one is standing still, you will not be able to stay together. You can do it, but it
will be struggle.
Easy. It'll be
it's always going to be one energy against the other. And when you're in a high vibration, sometimes they say, well, if you increase your vibration, you can affect another person without changing them. But it's very hard. It's going to work and beat your body. And you always have to charge your energy and always being like looking for other sources of energy to bring your energy out. Because
it gets depleted every time you go home to that partner.
So it's going to be hard on your body and your energy. So you always look for other sources to bring your energy higher with positive emotions, with everything else that fit your body, fit your body's energy. So it's hard to be with somebody who is in not the same vibrational level. So that's a balance. And I think last things that I want to also mention, balance, it's our microbiome and everything that affect any bacteria in us, on us. So we need to have a balance with that, because this balance in our microbiome makes us sick.
I love that. Well, and I think the microbiome is made up of everything we just talked about. I mean, it's the air you breathe, it's the food you eat, it's the emotions you think, it's your connection. I really love the connection with nature. If you don't have a balanced approach with nature and everything in the world around you, I think the root cause of most people's health issues, the microbiome.
And also, as we know, in our gut, we have a commensal bacteria, we have pathogenic bacteria and normal bacteria, right? So how to keep them happy, how to keep them in balance.
So that you don't have disease, cancer, all the things. Because so the good and the bad are all happening in the gut.
Yeah.
All the things that could take you out, but also all the things that could heal you are occurring in the gut.
So provide the best for the good bacteria so they keep the bad bacteria under control. Right. Same with commensal. So life is in balance. And that's how you become healthy and happy in life.
Everything in balance and everything in moderation.
And use it or lose it.
Use it or
but
lose
not abuse it.
But not abuse it. Well, wow. Dr. Al, thank you for sharing your wisdom on balance. Some wonderful quotes and just some great insight. And how can people find out more about you?
I have two websites. One is holisticexpert.org and another one is dr-larissa.com.
Wonderful. Well, I can't thank you enough. Until next time.
Thank you, Priscilla.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Harmonic Alignment. If something resonated with you, we would love to hear about it. Please consider leaving us a 5-star review and subscribing so you don't miss an upcoming episode. Thank you. The information contained in this podcast is provided for informational purposes only and not intended for the purpose of diagnosing, treating, curing, or preventing any disease. Before using any products referenced on the podcast, consult with your healthcare provider. Carefully read all labels and directions. The products and information received through the podcast should not be used to replace a consultation or advice from your healthcare provider. If you suspect you have a medical problem or have any healthcare questions, please promptly call your healthcare provider. This podcast, including Dr. Larissa Sharapova and Priscilla Koblenz and the producers, are not responsible for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained in this podcast. This podcast may contain endorsements and advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct financial benefit to the product or services referenced.